Greetings, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Untested Gaming, where we make player builds for your favorite fictional characters for Pathfinder 2e. Like and subscribe for a new build every week, comment to make a suggestion for characters you want to see on the channel in the future, and join the Patreon to vote in polls for upcoming builds. If you couldn't already tell by the thumbnail and title, today we're making another League Champion. It's my favorite game, and the characters are super fun, and I want to build all of them eventually. Just let me have this one thing, please. Today we're building Ekko. He's a young tech prodigy growing up in a toxic slum with no resources or real hope for the future. That is, until he comes across a shard of hextech with chronomantic properties, allowing him to pull himself back through time for brief periods to alter the outcome of events. Most of the time he uses it to avoid dying and for whomping enemies over the head with the weird blunt sword thingy he kind of invented. Ekko is a human and miraculously mutation-free considering the place he calls home. Skilled humans get 2 free boosts in training in a skill of their choice that increases to expert proficiency at level 5. We'll take strength and dexterity and grab training in medicine. We'll take the tinker background for more boosts, this time to dexterity and intelligence. Also get training in crafting and engineering lore and the specialty crafting skill feat for free. This gives us a +1 circumstance bonus to craft items that fall within a specific category we choose. We're going blacksmithing because we won't be using alchemy, which is the only other plausible choice we could select for Ekko. For an Ancestry feat, we'll take Arcane Tattoo, selecting Abjuration for access to the shield cantrip. This generates a magical shield that acts as performing a raised shield action, granting a +1 bonus to our AC until the start of our next round. While this is up, we can use the shield block reaction to mitigate some of the damage we might take, but the spell immediately ends and goes on cooldown for 10 minutes if we do so. If you had asked me a month ago about what class to choose for Ekko, I'd probably said something like a wizard with some swashbuckler feats for some martial capability. But last week Paizo dropped 2 new classes for us to play test for the upcoming Secrets of Magic book, and the Magus seemed like a much better fit for our tumbling divination boy. Level 1 Magi gain a boost to either strength or dexterity. The Magus Potency Focus spell, which grants our weapon the effect of a +1 weapon potency rune for 1 minute. The signature move of the Magus is Striking Spell. This allows you to cast a spell that targets at least one creature and place it into a weapon or your own body once per round as a free action. The spell is released when you hit on a strike with the weapon or unarmed strike, as long as the strike is made before the end of your next turn. We also get to choose a Magus Synthesis. This further defines our fighting style. We're going with slide casting here. This allows us to make a step or stride while casting the spell after our striking spell action. So now we already have the first half of our phase dive and we aren't even done with level 1. The striking spell is useless without offensive spells. We also get access to 5 cantrips and a first level spell slot. Light makes an object glow for a day, so your weapon can also be a torch. Probably useful for someone who spends all of their time in basically an underhive. Detect Magic sends out a pulse in a 30-foot emanation to register the presence of ongoing spells or magical items. Chill Touch uses negative energy to weaken living and undead. We make a spell attack roll, and creatures who get hit must also make a fortitude save. Living creatures take 1d4 plus our intelligence modifier of negative damage, and if they critically fail the save, they are also enfeebled 1 for 1 round. Undead creatures are flat-footed for 1 round and will flee for 1 round if they critically fail their fortitude save. Electric Arc forces a reflex save on up to 2 creatures. Failing, they take 1d4 plus our intelligence modifier of electricity damage. Daze is a cantrip that deals mental damage equal to our intelligence modifier to a target. They also attempt a will save, and critically failing, they are stunned for a round. True Strike gives us a glimpse into the future to better prepare us for our next attack. Until the end of our turn, the next time we will make an attack roll, we roll twice and take the better result instead. We also ignore any penalties or flat checks required to target a concealed or hidden creature. We'll pick up training in acrobatics, athletics, society, and survival, and take ability boosts in strength, dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom. At level 2, we'll pick up the Acrobat dedication, increasing our acrobatics proficiency to expert. This is raised again automatically at levels 7 and 15. Also, when we critically succeed while attempting a tumble through an enemy space, we don't treat that square or squares as difficult terrain. We pick up the most useful feat in the game, Battle Medicine. This allows us to make a medicine check similar to a treat wounds action to heal an amount of HP. We can even do this while in combat. If we do so, the target is immune to further battle medicine attempts for 1 day. We also get another first level spell slot. Color Spray affects creatures based on a will save. On a normal success, they are dazzled for 1 round. On a failure, they are stunned and blinded for 1 round and dazzled for a minute. And on a critical failure, they are stunned and blinded for 1 minute. Level 3 Magi can cast level 2 spells. Mirror Image makes 3 images in the space around you. Any attack that will hit you has a random chance of hitting one of the images instead. If all 3 remain, you get hit on a roll of 1 on a d4. If 2 remain, a 1 or 2 on a d6 means a hit, and if there are only 1 image left, You get hit on a 1 through 3 on a d6 instead. Sudden Bolt deals 4d10 electricity damage to a creature or object who fails a reflex save. We'll use our skill increase for Master Arcana and take the toughness feat since we'll be mostly fighting up close, and Ekko does have a little bit of HP in his items. This gives us an extra max HP equal to our level and reduces the DC of recovery checks to 9 plus our dying condition value. At level 4, we'll take the Streetwise feat, allowing us to use our Society modifier instead of Diplomacy for a Gather Information action. We can also use Society for a Recall Knowledge check if it's about an area we are familiar with. But Spell Strikes gives us the Spellblade passive on Lichbane. Once per turn, if we cast a non-cantrip spell, we can add 1d6 of a type of damage based on the school of the spell we cast to our next attack. Level 5 Magi gain Lightning Reflexes for Expert Reflex saves, Weapon Expertise for Expert Proficiency in Simple and Martial Weapons, and access to 3rd level spells. Slug gives a target the Slug condition based on a Fortitude save. Paralyze can stun or paralyze a target based on a Will save. Remember, we're using our striking spell to land these spells, so even if we aren't dealing damage with the spells directly, we are making it much harder for creatures to fight back against us while still dealing our weapon damage. We use our skill increase for Expert Proficiency in Society. The biggest weakness of the Magus is their limited spell pool, so we need to get extra spells wherever we can. We'll pick up Ornate Tattoo for our Ancestry feat. Since we took Abjuration for our tattoos originally, we'll take the Featherfall spell to slow one fallen creature as a reaction and prevent fall damage if they reach the ground before the spell ends. For our ability boosts, we'll take Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom. At level 6, we'll pick up Assurance for our Acrobatics skill. We'll be able to control the flow of time more directly eventually, so for now, it's better to be good than lucky. Now we can forego the roll on the Acrobatics skill check in favor of a flat +10 bonus. The Martial Caster class feat gives us extra lower level spell slots based on the highest level spell slot we've obtained, but we can only cast certain spells with these extra slots. For now, we get 2 extra first level spell slots and first level spells. Fleet Step grants a 30-foot bonus to speed for 1 minute. Jump lets us make a 30-foot leap in any direction. Mage Armor gives a target a +1 bonus to AC with max dexterity modifier of +5, but forces us to use our unarmored defense proficiency. And Magic Weapon grants a non-magical weapon the effects of a +1 potency and striking runes for 1 minute. Level 7 Magi gain Weapon Specialization for an additional flat 2 damage with weapon and unarmed strikes. We use our skill increase for Master Arcana. We also gain access to 4th level spells. Freedom of Movement lets us ignore immobilizing effects for 10 minutes as long as they're either non-magical or the spell that generated the immobilizing effect is less than a level of our Freedom of Movement spell. Our Martial Caster slots get upgraded to level 2 slots and we learn more spells for them. Resist Energy gives the creature resistance 5 to either acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic damage for 10 minutes. Spider Climb gives the creature a climb speed equal to its speed for 10 minutes. Water Breathing lets up to 5 creatures breathe underwater for up to an hour. We'll take the Quick Jump feat so we can make a high jump or long jump in 1 action instead of 2. We also don't automatically fail for not performing the initial stride when doing so. At level 8, we'll take the Graceful Leaper feat, allowing us to use our acrobatic skill instead of athletics to perform a high jump or long jump. Tumbling Strike lets us move through an enemy space to an unoccupied space adjacent to that enemy and make a melee strike against that enemy. On a critical success, that enemy is flat-footed to your strike. On a failure, you remain in your original space but can still attempt to strike, but on a critical failure, nothing happens and the action is wasted. Level 9 Magi gain Alertness for Expert Perception. Resolve for Master Will saves and critical success results on regular successes. We also gain 5th level spells. Drop Dead is an illusion spell that lets you make people see the results of one of your failed time slips by making a target invisible and generating an illusory corpse that appears to fall dead. If the invisible creature makes a hostile action, the spell ends immediately. We also get more spells for our Martial Caster. Feat to Fins gives a creature a swim speed equal to its land speed for 10 minutes at the cost of making its land speed 5. Haste gives a target the quicken condition for 1 minute, but the extra action can only be used for a strike or stride action. We use our skill increase for expert proficiency in crafting. Virtue Forged Tattoos lets us cast a 3rd level abjuration spell once per day as an innate spell. Safe Passage creates an area of safety that's 10 by 10 by 60 feet. Within the area, our allies and ourselves gain a +2 bonus to AC and saves against environmental effects. They also gain resistance 5 to all damage from such effects. This doesn't apply to attacks from damage or other creatures within the space, however. At level 10, we'll take Terrain Expertise for a +1 bonus to survival checks in underground environments. We'll take Training in our Performance skill. You're a rapper after all. Portal Slide upgrades our slide casting from normal strides to the second half of our phase dive by allowing us to teleport up to half our speed without triggering reactions instead. For our ability boost, we'll take Strength, Dexterity, Intelligence, and Wisdom. Level 11 Magi are expert spellcasters, increasing the spell attack rolls and spell DCs to expert proficiency. Medium armor expertise for expert proficiency in medium and light armor, as well as unarmored defense. We also get 6 level spells. Chain Lightning forces a reflex save on a target and jumps to an additional creature until a target critically succeeds at its save. This deals 8d12 electricity damage to each target, dealing half or double based on the results of their individual reflex saves. We also gain our last round of extra spell slots and learn spells from the Martial Caster feat. Fly gives a creature a flying speed equal to its move speed or up to 20 feet, whichever is greater, for 5 minutes. We use our skill increase for Master Crafting proficiency and pick up the Magical Crafting feat. Your GM shouldn't be the only one deciding who gets magical items for your campaign. Tinker away, young prodigy. At level 12, we'll take the Blessed One dedication feat to gain access to the Lay on Hands focus spell and increasing our focus pool by 1. Mostly taking this because, frankly, the Magus focus spells aren't really that great when we can just craft our own magical weapons. Underground Network lets us use society to gather information in less than the usual time and more discreetly than using public means. If you're successful, we also gain a +1 bonus to recall knowledge checks about that area. Level 13 Magi gain Weapon Mastery for Master Proficiency in Simple and Martial Weapons. We can also cast 7th level spells, and we finally gain access to our ultimate ability. Time Beacon allows us to use an action to create a point in time that we can return to until the end of our turn, undoing any movement or actions we took during that turn. However, just like on the Rift, this isn't foolproof. If we took any detrimental effects, they will have to be counteracted by the Time Beacon, otherwise we cannot return. We use our skill increase for expert proficiency in our lore engineering skill. The Astrology Ancestry feat helps us look even more flawless by allowing us to further influence the outcome of events around us. 3 times per day, if we would perform 1 or more skill checks, we can roll a d8. On a 6 or higher, we gain a +2 circumstance bonus for the upcoming checks. On a 3, 4, or 5, we only get a +1 bonus. And on a 2, nothing happens. And on a 1, we get a -1 penalty instead. At level 14, we'll pick up Godless Healing for an extra 5 HP on our Treat Wounds and Battle Medicine checks. This also reduces the immunity to our Battle Medicine from 1 day to 1 hour. Overwhelming Spell Strike allows the spell damage for our striking spells to ignore an amount of acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic damage equal to our level. Level 15 Magi gain Juggernaut for Master Fortitude saves and critical success results on regular successes. We also get Greater Weapon Specialization to raise our flat weapon damage from 3 to 6. We also can cast 8th level spells. Power Word Stun stuns a creature based on their level. We'll use our skill increase for Legendary Arcana. The Impeccable Crafter feat gives us critical success on regular successes when attempting to craft an item using our specialty crafting skill. We'll raise our Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Charisma. At level 16, we'll pick up the Catfall feat so we can never take fall damage again. The spell Countermeasures Focus spell allows us to gain a status bonus to AC and spell resistance is 5 as a reaction to an incoming spell. But most importantly, we get a 3rd focus point for more Lay on Hands action. 17th level Magi gain Medium Armor Mastery for Master Proficiency in Medium and Light Armor as well as Unarmored Defense. We also get 9th level spells. Foresight gives a creature a 6th sense of Foresight for 1 hour. While under this effect, they gain a +2 bonus to initiative rolls and are not flat-footed against undetected enemies nor when flanked. If they would need to make a saving throw, they roll twice and take the higher result. If another creature would target them with a spell or an attack, the enemy rolls twice and takes the lower result. We'll take the heir of the Astrologer's Ancestry feat to upgrade our Astrology feat even further. Now instead of rolling a d8, we roll a d4 and we take a circumstance bonus equal to the result of any result other than a 1. If we roll a 1, we still get a -1 penalty. We use our skill increase for Master Proficiency in Lore Engineering. At level 18, we'll take the Unified Theory feat, allowing us to use our Arcana skill for any action or skill feat concerning magic instead of our Nature, Occultism, or Religion skills. Our Time Reversal abilities now extend to our Spell Strikes with Second Chance Strike. If we make a strike with a spell and the spell takes no effect for whatever reason, we can pull the magical energies back into our weapon and attempt to discharge the spell on a later strike. The spell still needs to be discharged by the end of our next turn like normal or the spell is lost. Level 19 Magi are Master Spellcasters, increasing our proficiency for spell attack rolls and DCs to Master. We also get double spell strikes, meaning the spells we store in our weapons now last for 2 strikes. The second strike is a little weaker, however. You use a degree of success worse on spell attacks, and the targets use a degree of success better for saving throws. We'll use our skill increase for Expert Survival Proficiency. We'll take the Die Hard feat to die at dying 5 rather than dying 4. At level 20, we'll unleash our full crafting potential with the Inventor feat. Now we can craft new items without a formula for half the usual price. Once we've crafted the item, we add it to our new formula book as a new formula. For our capstone class feat, we'll take Supreme Spell Strike, making us permanently quickened. We can only use the extra action for a strike with our spell using our striking spell ability. For our final ability scores, we'll increase Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. Now that we're level 20, let's examine the pros and cons of this build. For pros, you're basically never missing a die roll between Astrology, True Strike, Foresight, and the ability to straight up drop a quick save in a tabletop RPG. We're almost always going to get our way unless for some reason we decide we don't want to. We also have a variety of debuffs that we can apply to our strikes. Dazzled, stunned, slowed, stupefied. We are always able to bring the best spells to attack the saves our enemies are most vulnerable to. We also are able to go anywhere we want between spells to gain almost every move type and safe passage. For cons, the Magus still needs a bit of fixing. The focus spells are almost useless with a properly funded and equipped party. The action economy is a bit too tight as well. If you want to cast a spell and make a strike, you're almost forced into taking the slide casting synthesis just so you can attack and move around. For this build specifically, we kind of push our striking spells to the wayside once we reach higher level spell slots. Most of our best spells just work better when cast normally, meaning our damage does suffer and trail behind a bit behind the pure casters and the pure marshals in later levels. But you don't have to live up to your competitive league archetype. Riot says assassin, but the lore just says smart boy who seems to be able to do everything perfectly the first time, and that seems like a more sweet build anyway. Thanks for tuning in to yet another build. Subscribe and tap the bell for a new build every week. You can follow me on Twitter at LordTomahawkD and join the Patreon to support the channel directly and vote in this week's poll. Right now, you can choose from Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, or Spider-Man. Links are in the description.